My name's Alan Wasserman. I've been involved in interactive, specifically, well, significantly within the video game space, um, going all the way back to Carmen San Diego, which is the first game I worked on. Um, and along the way, there's been, it's a laundry list, but it's Prince of Persia, it's um, uh, Midnight Club, Red
Red
Dead
Dead Redemption.
Revolver, GTA, Halo, Age of Empires, Stadia. I did stuff on Twitch, stuff on YouTube. I've had some entrepreneurial exploits along the way, and I'm now mostly consulting. Um, you know, predominantly within the tech space and ideally surrounding uh, innovative technologies like AI, streaming, and supporting content creators. That's like where a big passion of mine happens to be, and it all comes together,
Okay,
which is great.
that's great. That is great and very robust. And I would like to say thank you for giving us your blood, sweat, and tears into the games that I played and really enjoyed.
Well, thank you. You're welcome. I'm always told I should just say uh, thank you and welcome. Um, but it's like I've just been blessed. I came from nothing. I mean, literally nothing, and I've achieved a lot of success. But it's such a huge team effort. It's like there's no one individual ever does anything great. It really takes a team. And I've been blessed to work with great teams. So kudos to everyone that's
Yeah.
not going to get mentioned.
All right. So the topic today is going to be AI. So again, what is AI?
Um, so it's a great question. It's also an incredibly nuanced and potentially misunderstood one. Um, because if you were to go back and read like Isaac Asimov, AI is self-aware and able to just create and innovate on its own. And we have technology, aka AI, that's approaching that in certain ways. But a lot of what people refer to as AI is really just super fast, powerful scripting where computers could fail and get things wrong a billion times until it comes across the right way, perceived as however the person prompted it, that meets the needs of the use case. So I'm in that rare minority where I push back on just the name of it. I think AI, artificial intelligence, is really overused. I'd probably say 70, 80% of what people refer to as AI is really um, enhanced intelligent scripting, or it's doing the heavy lifting for you. The cutting edge stuff truly is AI, but most of what I think we're going to talk about is falls in that other 70%.
Okay.
Um, does that
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
cover
that's
it?
that's perfect.
Okay.
So I have like a little bit of follow. So like definitely you answer the question because I was going to ask, do you see confusion between automation tools and true AI? Because right now I would say it's more used as a tool.
Yes. And ahead of the lead in, you had mentioned, um, I forget how you said it, but it's like how it's going to impact the industry specifically around video games. And like any great technology shift and paradigm shift in thought, um, the sad truth is, yeah, some really great talented people are very likely to get left by the wayside. Um, but it's not because the technology itself is bad, evil, or whatever. I'd say a lot of it is because you have, um, I don't want to be offensive, but so that's a generalization, but there's um, a fair number of people that are in leadership or management roles that don't really get it.
Okay.
And so they're mistaking automation with automated intelligence. And so they're looking at a spreadsheet number instead of like when the invention of the wheel, this example gets used so overused, but it's like, oh, well, the wheel came about. It's like fantastic. Now one person can haul the load of what would have been like an ox or a horse or whatever, um, more easily. Did that get rid of the horses? No, they adapted it. Now you had wagons and, you know, blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
blah. We went from stone to paper. Same thing with
Yeah.
currency. One example I love to use that's very germane to the game industry is I've been around long enough, um, where when Photoshop came out, many artists were like
Oh
up in arms.
yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
it's not real. It's fake. You can't get the same quality as hand worked, content. And you know, I will definitely say that they were correct in that thinking you're going to get out of Photoshop, especially early on, a s- top tier asset, it would be very unlikely for the vast majority. But time it you could take to free up some quick concepts. I mean, the art directors, once they figure out how to use it and embrace it, the ones that did, they became masters. It's no different than, oh, I got a ball peen hammer in my toolbox, but I need something heavier, so I get a mallet. At first, it's like, oh, you're getting, it's just another tool. And once you understand how to use it, I think the majority of people will realize how good it is. And we get to offload 60, 70% of the, you know, rote brainless work. Um, but sadly, you got that reality with people up above where they're being driven by profit. But eventually, I think it's going to create a lot more work for people, and people who embrace it and figure it out are going to be like, "Oh my God, how did we do this before?"
Yeah, because like
So
what I've been hearing is I heard from Nvidia that the way they use it, they found that it hasn't created less work, it's created more work for them to do. It's allowed them to
absolutely,
do more work. So it's just always, I always see with how just how every how the media is spinning it or whatever gets put out via social media, it's always with the lens of it's taking away that. So that's why I see it. So it's very interesting to see from the
right.
horse's mouth, like, okay, no, there's an opportunity for. Obviously, there's still going to be loss. We're not saying that, but it's not going to be hunky dory where, oh yeah, there's sit back with our hands and we're just relaxing.
And to be fair, both extreme sides of this can be correct simultaneously. Um, Almost certainly, life and so much in what we do and what we experience, it it's a spectrum. You know, we don't live in a world
Yeah,
of black and white. It's like there's no, it. You can have things that are mostly true, even if it's contradictory to the polar opposite of it. So people just need to understand that in general, I would say, yeah, we will see ultimate growth and advantages from it, but it's going to get messy there because the downside is true. But I would just say in many cases, because it's not being used properly.
yeah, yeah.
So both things are true.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
but it won't one isn't gonna be the correct answer. It's always gonna be somewhere in the middle, somewhere.
I mean, like the best video game you ever played, somebody else is going to disagree with you and say that thing sucks.
Get yep,
But it's what fits you. It's like the shoes you buy have to fit you.
yeah,
It doesn't matter what the ratings are; they fit you.
yeah,
And we need to kind of get comfortable with that concept.
yeah. Very interesting that you said about Photoshop. That's I didn't know that at all. So what I
Well, you're
want.
not as old as I am.
I'm not taking any shots at you, man.
No, I'm good at shooting myself. Trust me.
Yeah, so what ways have you seen so far AI be used in game development?
Um, I so some of the things I would call out as advantageous that I've seen specifically within game development. um, especially if you're a small team. And even if you're a small team at a big company, which I think is something that too many big AAA teams have lost sight of, is stay small as long as you can. So, and that relates to RDR, which we could
Yeah.
talk about later. That's a fun story. Um, but it's like even with just decent prompting, and I'll just wrap it up under vibe coding. Um, with some halfway decent prompts, um, a reasonably um, I'll say technical, but I don't mean like coding technical per se. Designer or art creative can create, you know, conceptual proxies of something in a couple hours, let's say, versus having to a bring on an engineer, get them involved, make sure they understand and they're connecting, and then not have to go through like creators. A lot of times are always going, oh, why do I have to explain to a programmer?
Yeah.
Um, and the programmers are always saying, oh, why can't the artist just be reasonable? And I made a career of being a babble fish. I sit in the middle, I speak artist and I speak engineer, and I just enable them. So being able to say, hey, I have an idea and just throw something in and use AI tools, I think it's fantastically freeing, especially for creative or technical people. It's like, hey, how can I write this system if I'm a coder? And it will come up with something that probably works, but would almost certainly fail if you tried to take it to scale. So, you know, like going to my Photoshop example, early on in game development, a Photoshop illustration, depending upon the game you're working, this is 2D stuff, might get you to 80, 90% in half the time. But to get it to the final touch before you chip, it took the artistry and mastery of a true artist to get it over the top. Same thing with a designer. Same thing with someone who's coding. So I just think AI is the best use cases. Being able to hit a button and get somewhere between 50 and say 70% of the way there in a matter of minutes. And personally, I'm a better editor and contributor than I am a creator. You give me a blank page, it's shit. It's like, but then you just give me the smallest prompt, and then I'm off and running into a thousand directions,
Yeah.
and people are saying, Alan, slow down. Um, and I think AI usage in game development and technology in general should be leveraged that way. Um,
Yeah, I agree with that, especially because it's like it's so funny. What I love seeing with AI is everybody is an idea man or woman. Everybody is an idea man. But here is a chance to put your idea to the test because if you talk to Claude, if you talk to ChatGPT, and you put your idea, you see you think you're at the top, but you're right at the bottom. You don't have a clue of how to pull this thing off. There's a lot of steps to get to where you're
mhm.
going, and that's what I like. That's what I love about it because again, it shows that do you really have a good idea or it's just your confidence level is just your brain is just working at a way that you think it's something when it's really not. So yeah, I
Yeah,
agree with that. I could see that.
yeah. Or what you're describing is a yes and good idea, but the you did this thing, and then once you could see it, you're going, oh, this would be better, or maybe it allows you to iterate. And I'm going to tell you this, whether it's quality video game experiences, whether it's a movie, whether it's books, whether it's a engineering project, the faster you're able to fail fast and often, the faster you're going to get to making something that's truly awesome. Getting something that's good enough is the enemy of success. And I think that's where we get into trouble with how people look at AI. It's like somebody who doesn't really know, it's like managing it and maybe doesn't understand. It's like, hey, that looks great, good enough, let's ship it. It's like, oh, you don't get it. Um, and that's why it's such a nuanced conversation.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, an example I'll share with you. One of my favorite people in the whole world, this guy Steve Deslitz, and I think I mentioned it's somebody you should talk to, um, just because he was curious. He is a designer by trade, but he's so technical. He's a musician. He's an artist. He's everything. Anyways, um, just because he wanted to kind of figure out how he could use the AI better, I think he was working with Claude and some other tools. He decided he wants to see if he could recreate Railroad Tycoon. And it was clunky, it was broken in many ways, but he got up a playable version of a Railroad Tycoon esque
Wow.
type game in about 10 to 12 hours.
Wow.
And I was like,
That
so I played it. Again, I am not, I love that game too much to say that this was the replacement. Um, but the fact that you could even get something that would run in a day or two,
they
that's crazy.
when you know there's teams, there's a lot of moving parts just to do the one
Yeah.
thing.
So I feel like we're designers, if they're embracing it, and artists, instead of having to argue and plead their case to the limited resource, which so often is going to become an engineer, um, they could go, instead of describing it with words or a document, well, I want this, but I want it to be better. I mean, the old version
Yeah.
of this was, I would sit down with with like art directors and go, okay, um, true story on Redemption. Our creative and art director, um, he had this idea of what the game was supposed to look like, and he was trying to tell the engineers, well, can't we use this type of shader? Couldn't we do this? And all the stuff that you read about the time that was new. And I go, Darren, how about this? Go make a painting, okay? And say, I don't care how you do it. I'm not going to tell you how to do it, but I want that. And then the engineers, they put on their thinking caps. They go, okay, we're going to need specular. We're going to need to have translucency. We're going to have this. And now it's their problem to go figure out how to do it and then say, oh, it's not possible. I go, is it not possible because of the hardware or you don't have enough time or resources? Because I'll tell you this, there's no such thing as impossible. So, anyways, I'll go off track
Thank you.
crazy all the time.
This is a gem. This is what I live for, man. So I am perfectly fine. I am
Okay.
perfectly fine. We're probably gonna have to reschedule. We're gonna have to schedule something else because I can talk all day about this stuff.
Oh, me too. And truth, I guarantee you, is stranger than fiction in how a lot of really cool things happen. And I say that going back to the original Myst, how redemption came about to be. These are stories that are just like, no, didn't get greenlit, while watching Western movies on the couch with Sam Hauser. Kinda,
That is
you know.
awesome. That's so cool. That is so cool. So a little bit of an introduction for this next question. So I'm sure you know by now, especially because you are a well-seasoned veteran. Today, when it comes to AAA development is I know you've seen so many budgets when it comes to that. But now it seems that we've reached an inflection point where AAA development is very hard in terms of how much money it takes to build these games. And then, most importantly, there's the production cost and then there's the marketing cost. And what's going on right now is you're seeing a whole bunch of layoffs with these teams, and some of that is going to be due to how big the upfront cost is to make this game, and it's just really hard to pay back. So to break even, you have to sell maybe 5 million copies at least, which is a crap ton of copies to sell. And then there are even more games that are coming out. There's over 1,000 games that come out a day on Steam. So you're competing with all types of different markets, attention, which makes things a lot harder. Now, with this question, why should game development use in the AAA space consider using AI?
Well, okay, I love this question because even before AI became the most prominent buzzword in our industry, um, common sense AAA development, you know, in many instances, I'm not going to say sweepingly, but I'm saying in a lot of cases, the way um, publishers and large developers approach AAA development, um, it's just really upside down and backwards. Um, and this goes back even 10, 15 years. So it's not just an AI thing. Um, there's this thinking that, you pick a date, because you're trying to fill a revenue gap. And because of that, you got to get into production by this. It's like so I'm going to throw in my Amazonian roots. It's like they work backwards to a date and what has to happen, but without under the intent of why you work backwards. You work backwards because it's like, hey, what do I need to do to deliver the end result to the consumer? What is the thing? Um, so okay, I hate leaning on redemption, but I use RDR as an example because it's recognizable by so many. Um, so there's like numbers out there saying the game costs like $120 million to make, and I cannot and will not say what it costs,
Yeah.
but it was nowhere near that, nowhere near. Now, if you include marketing, sure, but from the studio that actually made it, along with support from other Rockstar studios, I can tell you that the first year plus of development, the team was never over 15 or 20 people. Maybe towards the end we
Oh,
got 30. And there's a reason for that. We were able to kind of, okay, so it wasn't AI, but procedurally, we would go throw out a gray box world with the press of a button. We used tools like Speed Tree that would just throw out a bunch of trees. So it looked like crap, okay? But it was a functional world to go into. And that's where we discovered, because we were trying to figure out what did we need to understand and know before we went in production. And we threw away the world at least 2, 3 times because it's too big. Being able to see forever and technologically go do that, not fun. There's some tech we were working on for GTA so that you could go in and open every door and go into every building and da 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 da. Some of that went into GTA 4. But the thinking was, well, redemption, because it's a smaller scale world, like Western towns are
yeah.
smaller. Oh, we could do it. Well, guess what? We got the tech to work, but it is fundamentally not fun where you open up every dresser drawer, every
The,
closet. And so we had to flip the script and get smart about how you use the technology that allows you to do it. But don't give people so much freedom that it becomes unfun. And traversing a massive world was not fun. And we flipped the script even on that, how we used to script the game. We made it so the world and interactivity came to you instead of you having to go to the one little spot and get it within enough pixels. The guy with the yellow, it's like that doesn't work in an open world. And that's why we kept a very small team for a long time. We figured out a lot of that, and it just got better over time.
wow. Wow. So so I would say yes, they should be using Triple
They
H.
should be using AI.
Okay.
So hey, we were using unautomated AI of a sort. We were using automation tools to be able to rapidly and quickly build things like, okay, like for example, you want to figure out the technical load on your systems. Like can we really put 10 million trees out into the world? Okay, well we're not going to build 10 million trees, so some of them are real, so you're proving out your art pipeline, and some of them were just a um, gray box with a yellow and ugly green texture on it, but it was built to the same poly count and same depth of texture, everything. So from a technical load point of view, the world was complete. So we would know where we had to optimize. But it was so obviously ugly, you didn't mistake it for something. So that was what I would call intelligent automation, which is the precursor to what AI. You just give it a couple prompts, and you give it the tool chain to do it. It'll just go do that for you. Um, and I think as teams embrace that, both indie and AAA, they'll use their resources better and not ramp up big teams, finish all at once, and then have to lay people off because it's mismanagement.
Mm,
Huge
mm.
layoffs. I think it's a failure on people like myself. Like it's the um, production leadership. It is the business leadership. When you get to the end and you don't have something to roll people onto, that's not a failure on the team. That's a failure on people like myself. And
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, it happens. It happens for sure.
it does, but it can be avoided.
Yeah.
11 years at Rockstar, San Diego Studios had one layoff, and it was really early on, soon after the transition from Angel to Rockstar, and we were over leveraged because of some projects that we still had outstanding with non-Rockstar projects, and it was like 15 people out of 200, and that hurt
Yeah.
because I knew each and every one of those people. But one time only in 11 years, and that was still my failure. But I don't buy into why the cost to go find this talent after you let them go.
Eh,
These companies are learning the hard way. They're shooting themselves in the foot, thinking AI is going to do what these people do.
Yeah.
It's just wrong.
Yeah. You need the people that have the knowledge first and then that know how to use the tools and yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Definitely.
So,
So,
anyway, that's the soapbox issue for
yes,
me. I'm
I
sorry.
I know, no. I love this. I love this lore. I need this lore. I live for it. So, second to last question, what concerns or challenges have you seen come up internally when discussing AI adoption during in terms of R&D and game development, small teams? What have you seen where there's a hurdle?
Okay. So to give context, I have done very little individual game focused work for the past year and a half or so, but as a consultant, I come in and I'm working on other issues, but I've been in those situations where it kind of trickles down. So the, within the context, what I think you're asking is it's stuff I think I've ever hit upon. Um, AI, I think the challenges that happen on a daily basis is it. So as a consultant, I come in with fresh eyes, and I try to thread um, the advice given to both the people on the production side and the people on the business side, and you know um, help set expectations realistically. It's like, okay, to the production side, it's like, yeah, it's like if you embrace it and you use it properly, and let's talk about the tools, what works, what doesn't, and we have to then dive deep into detail on what their expectations, because the tool sets can be different. Like a set of automotive toolbox is going to have different
Yeah.
tools than a carpenter's toolbox, so you need to make sure you have the right toolbox. Um, and set their expectations, and then get a small team working on it, and go try these things, break it, then iterate, iterate, iterate. On the business leadership side, it's really taking them through it. And I, I've built some fun spreadsheet models, which is really boring shit. But one of the things I like to do is I like to create, you know, the crazy what if scenarios with math. I do love math. Um, and so there may be There's gonna be pivot tables and all this other kind of boring shit. But the toy that I'll give with people, the higher up you go, the simpler it has to be. It's like, okay, here's your input sheet. And it's like, okay, anything that's yellow, put any crazy number you want in there. It's a what if machine. And you put it in, and then all the numbers ripple through. And then it's like, well, what's important? Oh, you're a finance person. You want to know what your profit, you want to know your revenue. Put in the assumptions, right or wrong. We're not judging. This is what you think. Okay, here's a likely outcome. So, so again, it's like communicating to the people that have very different perspectives on what they want. Um, and when it works well, it's fruitful because business leaders understand, oh, okay, if we do this, here's some scenarios. And then, of course, I'll pre-bake some for them. I can show them, hey, if you keep the team small and lean into um, um, uh, artificial intelligence, you can keep these other people on this other thing for a little bit longer, supporting another team. Don't spend too much money in that first year, year and a half. I mean, and this is not new advice. This is old advice. If you could keep your team under 20 people for that first 6 months to a year, I mean, and I'd say 6 months, that's not enough time. But for a AAA game, time is your friend. Um, team size is not. Team size is when you become accountable and you don't have the freedom to fail. Failure is how you learn.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, um, to maybe put a crisp point around the question, um, I've been in situations where I see real case scenarios where you have people at different levels all trying to embrace AI without really understanding what it can do or won't do. And so it's really breaking down and having these conversations, whether it's C-suite people or the QA guy. It's talk to everybody. What do you need out of it? And you just get your requirements and go, okay, business guy, you just want to have an understanding how much you really think it's going to cost and what's your reasonable prediction on revenue based upon your cost structures. Not exciting stuff, but that's what they
Yeah.
understand. And if you get them to agree saying, so do you really care if this game takes 2 years versus 2.5, as long as it costs the same amount of money? They go, yeah, okay. So suddenly you could now buy that project 6 more months to go build it right from the beginning because you got people upstairs. They're hearing what they want to hear. It's going to fit within their parameters. And the team down below is able to kind of embrace and say, okay, you're buying your 6 months to extra time. Don't fuck it up. Oh, am I allowed to say that?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. I forget what YouTube's rules are sometimes. Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of like, but then you hold everyone accountable. So, and the funny thing is, AI is really good for me because I could run scenarios and say, hey, write me a formula or, give me an example set of data and I'll just give it some training data and say, build me something. And it's not what I want, but now I could go fix it. So that's why even the business people should be embracing it. And it means so many different things.
Yeah.
So hopefully that kind of
Yes,
covered what you were
that's
looking for.
perfect. That is perfect because my last question, because of our talk, I believe you answered it, which was, can AI speed up development? And
yes,
I've heard, read an article about what AI, IO Interactive are doing, the Hitman people, and they were saying exactly what you said. The key is iterating fast. If you get a build out, we want to be able to test it so that we could see what's wrong, what's working, and then make another one, and then another one, and then another one. And then, because I watch a lot of David Jaffe, and he was saying
that's awesome.
yeah, love that guy. And he was saying he would just, every day, like, they would just look over what they have, see what's wrong, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. So, again, you answer my question. It's just the fact that you got to be able to see what you have so that you could see what's wrong with it and you could just build better game. Because I remember back in the day when Destiny came out, Bungie, their tools were a little outdated. So when designers I heard designers would they wouldn't get a build of like a map until a week because they had to render the level, and that would take weeks, and it was just very slow. So yeah, I would say you answered that question, and so yeah, I'm excited to see what's gonna come.
Add to that. So one of so even back in Angel days before we became Rockstar, and then something I brought forward with me when I went to Microsoft is the importance of a daily build. And we really learned a lot from the Rockstar North studios up in Scotland, and they're like the originators of GTA. Um, in general, the philosophy was if you don't have a daily build, it was almost like a full stop. Why don't we have it? Get it working. It wasn't about, oh, we'll do it tomorrow because we're so close to this new feature. It's like, nope, every freaking day a build. And so we took that idea, and I wish we had some of the AI agency techniques today, um, where like from redemption to everything else we ever shipped through San Diego and most of the other studios, you had a daily build. And in order to keep the team understanding that, hey, I'm not just building characters or this. One of our producers, this guy John Riccio, um, he had to manually figure out how to script this stuff, where he broke down every aspect of the game, and then we would try to get a daily build out before 11, and then when people came back from lunch, we just asked, "Here's a piece of the game." It shouldn't take more than half an hour
Yeah.
to kind of just load it up, jump to this thing, and we had the tools to do that. And then it was real simple. Could you access it? Could you play it? Could you finish it? What bugs? Whatever. Very simple thing. And for the most part, what you got assigned was randomized. So you would have engineers having to play features that maybe they were involved in, but they're seeing someone else's work and okay, this is broken. And artists have to actually look at other things. They can't just sit there and look at the game. Look how pretty it is. Um, and literally, our HR person, our receptionist, everyone participated, and it was a great way to just have everyone understand what we were doing. It wasn't about being a good gamer. It's
Yeah.
just like it's getting eyeballs on your game, and that's something that's a whole nother conversation, and it's something that a lot of teams get really precious about. They get too far along before they let people see the game.
Mm. Mm.
And it's hard. It's a really tough one,
Yeah.
but it's like I would say the earliest you could get eyeballs, especially fresh ones, the better. Just don't hire an external service to do reviews for
Rev-
you. Um,
I've heard
that is
about
a
that.
whole.
I've heard
It,
about that.
we could talk another time, but there's a whole story that goes along with that on my very first day at Microsoft. First day, well,
Wow.
second day, training day, first day. The short version is there was a go no go on a product that I got hired to help come in and support, and everyone's saying, "Oh, Alan, you don't. No one's expecting anything." Phil Spencer, of course, though, then says, "So what do you think, Alan?" And I'm teasing, but it's a fun story. I want to do it justice. Well,
Oh
let's just say the simple go no go discussion did not go the way most thought it was going to
yeah.
go.
You got to tell. I'm gonna harass you for that story for sure. I need to hear this.
Anytime,
I need
anytime.
to hear this story. But Alan, I appreciate your time. Like I said, I wanted to make it short and sweet. I hope this is the first of many because you have so much knowledge. I would love to hear so much knowledge and insight on the industry, and I think that's very useful. I appreciate your time, and this was a
I
great.
enjoyed
This
it.
was great. This made my week. This made
I,
my
I,
week.
I, you can tell I enjoyed it, and there's other people. We'll talk offline. There's some other people I think you know
Okay.
might be interested in seeing you to connect with because I think the broader your reach, I mean, your channel is not huge right
Yeah.
now, but it's like it's a seed. It has to
Yeah.
grow.
Yeah.
So
I
So,
appreciate that. I really
okay.
do. All right.
Well, it's awesome talking with you.
All right, man. You have a great rest of your week. Enjoy your weekend.
I will.
I will
Thank
stay
you.
in touch.
Okay.
Bye.